"Excuse me, sir, is this seat taken?" 7 words. That's all she said. A disabled girl with a leg that didn't bend right, no luggage, no adult, limped through a crowded airport where everyone had already turned her away. She stopped at the table of a Navy SEAL sitting alone with his service dog. The man said yes, and the dog, silent all morning, stood up. Not barking, not growling, just a shift. The kind of shift that made the SEAL's blood run cold. Because that dog didn't react to fear. He reacted to danger that had already happened. Before we show you who was hunting this child and what this dog did the moment that man walked through the door, tap subscribe, hit the bell, and stay until the end. Drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Now let me tell you what really happened at Gate B27. The girl's name was Emma Cole, 10 years old. 47 minutes before the man who called himself her father would walk through those terminal doors. She didn't know that yet. Neither did Master Chief Jake Brennan. Jake sat at the corner table of a small airport cafe. His coffee had gone cold 20 minutes ago. He didn't care. His flight to San Diego had been pushed back 3 hours. Mechanical issues. 14 years as a Navy SEAL had taught him one thing. Patience was cheaper than adrenaline. You burned hot when you needed to. The rest of the time, you watched. You waited. The dog at his feet understood this better than most humans. Titan was a 95-pound Belgian Malinois. His harness was military grade. His body perfectly still. He lay to Jake's left, head on his paws, eyes half closed. But his ears never stopped moving. They tracked sounds Jake couldn't hear. The crying toddler 3 gates down. The businessman arguing into his phone. The click of heels on tile. Titan processed it all. Dismissed it all. Until the girl appeared. Jake noticed her before she reached the cafe. She moved through the terminal like a ghost, slow, hesitant, shoulders hunched forward. No adult with her. No coat, despite the February chill. Her right leg moved differently than her left. Mechanical, stiff, a prosthetic. Jake's trained eye caught the details. The leg was too short. The socket didn't fit. She shifted her weight unnaturally with every step. That prosthetic hadn't been adjusted in at least 2 years. Her jeans were faded. Her hoodie was too thin. The zipper broken. Her hair was brown, dull, cut unevenly, like someone had taken scissors to it without a mirror. She was maybe 10, and she was alone. Jake watched her approach the first table. A woman in a business suit, laptop open. The girl stopped, waited. The woman glanced up, then looked away. "Sorry, waiting for someone." The girl nodded, moved on. Second table. A man in his 40s, headphones in. "Can't help you. Try the information desk." Third table. A young couple sharing a sandwich. The woman pulled her purse closer. The man shook his head. "We don't have any cash." The girl hadn't asked for money. Jake felt something tighten in his chest. Something that remembered what it felt like to be invisible. To have people look through you. The girl reached his table last. She stood there, eyes fixed on the empty chair. Then her gaze dropped to Titan. "Excuse me, sir, is this seat taken?" Her voice was soft. The kind people talked over. Jake didn't hesitate. "It's yours." He nudged the chair back with his boot. She reached for the seat. And that's when Titan moved. Jake had worked with military dogs for over a decade. He'd seen them detect explosives buried under sand. He'd watched them track insurgents through pitch-black buildings. But what Titan did in that moment wasn't any of those things. He didn't bark, didn't growl. He simply stood up. Slowly, deliberately. His weight shifted forward. His ears rotated forward and locked. His head turned toward the girl, not aggressive, just present. His body repositioned itself between Emma and the main walkway. Jake's blood went cold. He knew that stance. He'd seen it 100 times in the field. That was a screening posture, a protective formation. The same position Titan took when he detected a threat approaching. But there was no threat here, just a crowded airport. Families, business travelers. Jake looked at the girl again. Really looked. She had settled into the chair slowly, like she expected someone to snatch it away. Her hands gripped the edges of the seat, knuckles white. She wasn't sitting. She was hiding. "You hungry?" Jake asked. His tone was neutral, the same voice he'd used with frightened children across 3 continents. The girl hesitated. Her eyes flicked to his face, then away. She nodded once. Jake stood. "Stay here. I'll be right back." He walked to the counter, ordered a turkey sandwich, apple juice, granola bar. The whole time he kept the table in his peripheral vision. The girl hadn't moved. Neither had Titan. When Jake returned, he set the tray in front of her. "Take your time." Her fingers hovered over the sandwich, like she wasn't sure it was really hers. Then she started eating. Not fast, not greedy. Careful. Small bites. Strategic chewing. Jake had seen this before. In refugees. In prisoners. In people who learned that meals could be taken away without warning. She was rationing. Even now. 3 minutes passed. "You traveling alone?" Jake asked. She nodded, then shrugged. "Sort of." "That's a maybe." For the first time, she looked up. Really looked. Her eyes were brown, too large for her thin face. Guarded. "Got a phone?" She shook her head. "It's broken." "Boarding pass?" Longer pause. "I'm just waiting." Jake filed the information away. No phone, no ticket, no adult, no one looking for her. And a dog who wouldn't stop watching the terminal entrance. Emma finished half the sandwich before she spoke again. "What's his name?" She was looking at Titan. "Titan. Is he a police dog?" "Was. Military. We served together overseas." Her eyes widened. "You were in the Army?" "Navy." "My dad was a Marine." Jake caught the past tense. Was. "That's good company. Marines are solid." "He died when I was 3. She said it matter-of-factly, the way children do when grief becomes just another fact about their life. "I'm sorry." She shrugged. "I don't really remember him, just pictures." Titan's ear twitched. His head turned toward the terminal. Jake noticed. "You live with family now?" Emma's jaw tightened. So fast, most people would have missed it. "My mom remarried, but she died too, 2 years ago." "And now?" Silence. She reached for the apple juice. When she set it down, her sleeve rode up her left arm. Jake saw it. A bruise, yellowing at the edges, thumb-shaped, wrapped around her forearm like someone had grabbed her hard. She noticed his glance. Her sleeve yanked down instantly. Her eyes dropped. Her chewing stopped. Titan's head came up. His gaze locked on Emma's hand, then shifted to her face. "Hey," Jake said gently. "You're safe here." Emma didn't respond, but she didn't run either. The minutes stretched. Jake didn't push. Push and kids like this either shut down or lie. So he talked about Titan instead, how they'd met in Afghanistan, how the dog had saved his life twice, how Titan had retired after taking shrapnel in his hip. "He found me," Jake said, "in that hospital. I was in bad shape, couldn't walk, couldn't sleep. Emma was listening now. They brought him in for a therapy visit, but Titan walked right past everyone else, came straight to my bed, and laid his head on my chest. Jake smiled. Didn't move for 3 hours. Nurses tried to take him away. He wouldn't budge. "He chose you," Emma said quietly. "Yeah, he did." She looked at Titan. The dog's tail moved once, small, like an acknowledgement. "He's watching the door," she said. It wasn't a question. Jake's eyes narrowed. "You noticed that?" "He keeps looking over there, every few seconds." Smart kid. Too smart. The kind of observant that came from needing to know where the exits were, where safety might be found. "He does that sometimes," Jake said carefully. "Habit." Emma nodded, but she didn't look convinced. They both knew the truth. Titan wasn't watching out of habit. He was watching because something was coming. "What's your name?" Jake had waited almost 15 minutes to ask. She hesitated. Her fingers traced a pattern on the table. "Emma." "Good name. Strong." "My dad picked it before he died." "He picked well." Something softened in her face. The walls lowered an inch. "What's yours?" she asked. "Jake." "Just Jake?" "Just Jake is fine." She almost smiled. "Are you flying somewhere?" "San Diego, eventually." "Oh." She looked at her hands. "I'm supposed to be meeting someone." "Yeah? Who?" The walls went back up, fast. "Just someone." Titan's head snapped toward the terminal entrance. His whole body went rigid, ears forward, eyes locked. Jake followed his gaze. A man had just walked through security. Mid-40s, average height, clean-shaven, polo shirt tucked into khakis. Respectable, trustworthy, forgettable. But everything about this man screamed wrong. His eyes were scanning the terminal too quickly, too methodically. Not a casual glance, a search pattern, looking for someone. The man's gaze swept past the cafe, stopped, locked onto their table. And Emma went absolutely still. Jake didn't turn around. He kept his eyes on Emma. She had stopped breathing. Her hands had dropped to her lap. The color drained from her cheeks. Her shoulders pulled in so tight she looked like she was trying to disappear. "Emma." She didn't respond. "Emma, look at me." Her eyes lifted, full of something Jake had seen too many times. Terror. "Who is that man?" She shook her head, quick, desperate. "Emma, I need you to tell me." "Please." Her voice cracked. "Please don't make me go with him." The words hit Jake like a punch. Titan was fully alert now, on his feet, body positioned between Emma and the approaching man. A low sound rumbled in his throat. A warning. Jake made his decision in half a second. "You're not going anywhere. Not with anyone you don't want to go with. You understand me?" Emma's eyes filled with tears, the first she'd shown. "He'll say he's my dad. He's not. He's not my dad. My dad is dead." "I know. He married my mom. But my mom is dead too, and he—" She stopped, swallowed hard. "He hurts me." There it was, the truth written on her body since she sat down. The prosthetic, the bruise, the careful eating, the constant checking. "He's not taking you anywhere," Jake said. "I promise." The man was getting closer. 20 feet, 15. His face had shifted. Relief, anger, possession. "Emma!" The man's voice carried across the cafe, loud, projecting concern. "Emma, thank God! I've been looking everywhere." Every head turned. The man was smiling, the perfect worried parent. "She just wandered off," he announced. "You know how kids are." He reached the table, reached for Emma's arm. Titan lunged. The dog didn't bite, didn't attack, but he inserted himself between Emma and the man with a speed that made nearby travelers gasp. His body blocked the path completely, head low, ears flat, eyes locked. The growl was unmistakable now. The man stumbled back. "What the? Control your dog!" Jake stood slowly, deliberately. 6'2", 215 pounds. The kind of build that came from years of training. But it wasn't his size that made the man step back. It was his eyes. "That's far enough," Jake said. "Excuse me? This is my daughter." "She says you're not her father." "That's ridiculous. Emma, tell him." He looked past Jake. Emma had pressed herself against her chair, tears streaming, shaking. She didn't say a word. "Emma." The man's voice hardened, just enough for Jake to catch. "Tell this man who I am." Titan's growl deepened. "She doesn't have to tell me anything," Jake said. "I've seen enough." "Seen enough?" "She's troubled. Her mother died, and she's been acting out, running away, making up stories. Stories like the bruises on her arm?" The man's face flickered. Then the mask came back, smoother. "She fell last week. She's clumsy. A prosthetic that hasn't been adjusted in 2 years?" Another flicker, longer. "I don't have to explain myself. I'm her legal guardian. I have custody. Let me take her, or I'm calling the police." Jake smiled. It wasn't friendly. "Please do." The man blinked. "What?" "Call the police. I'll wait." You can't keep her from me. That's kidnapping." "Is it? Because from where I'm standing, you're trying to take a child who's clearly terrified of you. A child who told me you hurt her." "She's lying." "Then you shouldn't have any problem explaining that to the authorities." The man's jaw tightened. His hands clenched. For a moment, Jake saw it. The real person beneath the mask. The anger, the violence, the rage at being denied. "You have no idea who you're dealing with," the man said quietly. "Actually, I do. I've dealt with men like you in 4 different countries. Same look, same excuses, same threats." Jake leaned forward. They all ended the same way, too. The man's face went red. "Sir?" A new voice, calm, professional. An airport security officer had approached, mid-30s, hand near his radio. "We've received reports of a disturbance." The man jumped at the opportunity. "Yes, this man is interfering with my family. He won't let me take my daughter. She's not his daughter." Both men turned. Emma had stood up, her legs shaking, her voice trembling, but she was standing. "He's not my dad. My dad was a Marine. He died when I was 3. This man married my mom, and when she died, he—" She stopped. Tears fell. "He hurts me. He hurts me all the time, and nobody believes me." The security officer's expression changed. "Ma'am, can you show me some identification?" he asked the man. "I don't have to—" "Sir, identification. Now." The man reached for his wallet. His hands were shaking. Jake noticed something else. The man kept glancing toward the terminal exit. Calculating. Measuring distance. He was thinking about running. "Don't," Jake said quietly. The man's eyes snapped to him. "You take 1 step toward that door, and my dog will make sure you don't take a second." Titan stood ready, every muscle coiled. The security officer spoke into his radio. "I need backup at the cafe near gate B27. Possible custodial interference. Minor involved." The man's face went pale. "This is a misunderstanding. She's my stepdaughter. I have legal custody." "Do you have documentation?" "Not on me, but—" "Then you'll need to wait here until we can verify." "You can't do this. I have rights." The officer's voice hardened. So does she. 2 more security officers arrived within minutes, then a police officer, then another. The man's story started changing. First he was her father, then her stepfather, then her legal guardian. Then he was just trying to help. Each version contradicted the last. Jake stayed close to Emma. Titan stayed closer. A female officer knelt in front of the girl. Her voice was gentle. "Sweetheart, can you tell me your name?" "Emma. Emma Cole." "And who is that man?" Emma's voice was steady now, like saying it out loud had broken something loose. "His name is Victor Shaw. He married my mom 3 years ago. She died 2 years ago. He was supposed to take care of me." "And has he?" Emma looked down at her prosthetic. The one that didn't fit. The one that caused her pain every day. "No." The officer nodded slowly. "Can you show me your arm? The one you were protecting earlier?" Emma hesitated, then slowly rolled up her sleeve. The bruise was worse than Jake had realized. Not just thumb-shaped. There were others, older, layered on top of each other, like a timeline of pain. The officer's jaw tightened. "We're going to need to take some photos. Is that okay?" Emma nodded. Across the cafe, Victor Shaw's voice rose. "This is ridiculous! I want a lawyer! You can't treat me like a criminal!" "Sir, you need to calm down." "Don't tell me to calm down! That girl is a liar! She makes things up for attention!" Jake turned to look at him. Something in his gaze made Victor go quiet. "You know what I learned in the Navy?" Jake said. "How to read people. How to know when someone's telling the truth and when they're full of shit." He took a step closer. "That girl hasn't lied once since she sat down at my table. But you haven't said a single honest word." Victor's face twisted. "You don't know anything about us." "I know enough. I know she's scared of you. I know she's been hurt. I know that prosthetics should have been replaced a year ago, and you didn't bother." Jake's voice dropped. "And I know that if you ever touch her again, there won't be enough of you left to identify." Victor opened his mouth. Titan took a single step forward. Victor closed his mouth. The next hour was a blur of statements and questions. A social worker arrived. A woman named Diane Chen. Calm, professional, with kind eyes that had seen too much. She sat with Emma while the police finished with Victor. "I'm going to ask you some questions," Diane said. "You don't have to answer anything you're not comfortable with, but the more you can tell me, the more I can help." Emma nodded. "How long have you been living with Mr. Shaw?" 2 years, since my mom died. And before today, did you ever try to tell someone what was happening?" Emma's eyes filled with tears again. "I told my teacher. She said she'd report it. Nothing happened." "Anyone else?" "The doctor, when I went for my leg. He said he'd make some calls." "Did he?" "I don't know. I never went back. Victor said it cost too much." Diane wrote something down. Her hand was steady, but Jake could see the tension in her shoulders. "Emma, what happened today? How did you end up at the airport?" The girl took a deep breath. "He was drunk last night. Really drunk. He grabbed my arm and said if I ever told anyone, he'd make sure I couldn't walk at all." Jake's hands clenched at his sides. "I waited until he fell asleep. Then I took money from his wallet and called a cab. The driver brought me here. I didn't know where else to go." "Why the airport?" Emma looked at Jake, then at Titan. "My dad flew out of this airport when he deployed. My mom used to bring me here and tell me stories about him. I thought maybe if I came here, someone would help me." Diane reached out and gently touched Emma's hand. Someone did. Victor Shaw was taken into custody. The charges were still being determined. Custodial interference, suspected child abuse, neglect. The list would grow. Emma was examined by a paramedic. The bruises were documented. The prosthetic was noted as a medical concern. This socket has caused significant tissue damage, the paramedic said quietly to Diane. She must have been in pain for months. Why didn't she say anything? The paramedic looked at Emma, who was sitting on a bench, Titan's head resting against her knee. Kids like her learn not to complain. Complaining makes it worse. Jake stood nearby, watching, waiting. Diane approached him. Mr. Brennan, I want to thank you. What you did today, it matters. I didn't do anything. My dog did. Diane smiled slightly. Your dog knew she was in danger before anyone else. That's remarkable. He's seen things, same as me. You learned to recognize it. Recognize what? Jake looked at Emma, at the way she leaned into Titan, at the first hint of peace on her face since she'd sat down. When someone needs help, but doesn't know how to ask. Diane nodded slowly. Emma will be placed in emergency protective custody tonight. Tomorrow, we start the process of finding her a safe placement. What about him? He won't be going anywhere for a while. The evidence is substantial. And the audio from the terminal cameras? She paused. What audio? Diane's expression hardened. When you stepped away to talk to the officer, Victor leaned down to Emma. He didn't know the security microphones were active. What did he say? Diane's voice was flat. He said, next time you pull this, you're not walking out. Jake's jaw tightened until he could feel his teeth grinding. That changes everything, Diane continued. That's a direct threat to a minor. On camera. On audio. Good. Mr. Brennan, there's something else. Jake waited. Emma asked if she could see you before she's taken to the hospital for evaluation. She wants to say goodbye. Jake looked at the girl across the terminal. Still small, still fragile, but sitting up straighter than she had all day. Yeah, he said. I'd like that too. Emma was sitting on the bench when Jake approached. Titan walked beside him, tail low, calm. She looked up. Her eyes were red, but dry now. They said I have to go to the hospital. Just for a checkup. Make sure you're okay. Will you be there? Jake knelt down so he was eye level with her. I'll be there when you're discharged. I promise. How do you know? Because I don't break promises. Ask him. He nodded toward Titan. The dog looked at Emma. His tail wagged once. She almost smiled. He really did choose you, she said. At the hospital, when you couldn't walk. Yeah, he did. Maybe he chose me too. Today. Jake felt something catch in his throat. Yeah, Emma. I think he did. She reached out and put her hand on Titan's head. The dog leaned into her touch. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For saying yes, when I asked about the seat. Jake stood. His eyes burned, but he kept his voice steady. It's yours. It's always yours. The social worker approached. It was time. Emma stood, looked at Jake one last time. You'll really be there? Tomorrow? I'll be there. She nodded, squared her shoulders, took a step toward Diane, then stopped, turned back. Jake? Yeah? My dad would have liked you, I think. Jake couldn't speak, could only nod. Emma walked away with Diane. Her limp was still there. Her prosthetic still clicked with each step. But something was different. She wasn't looking over her shoulder anymore. Jake watched until she disappeared through the security doors. Titan sat beside him, silent, watchful. The terminal continued around them. Announcements, footsteps, the ordinary chaos of travel. But Jake didn't hear any of it. He was thinking about a scared little girl who walked through a crowded airport looking for help. about all the people who looked away, and about a dog who knew the truth before anyone else did. His phone buzzed. A text from the airline. Flight delayed another 2 hours. Jake smiled grimly. He wasn't going anywhere anyway. Not until he knew she was safe. He sat back down at the table. The same table where a 10-year-old girl had asked 7 simple words. "Is this seat taken?" Jake looked at the empty chair across from him. "It's yours," he said quietly. "It's always yours." Titan rested his head on Jake's boot, and they waited together. The hospital corridor smelled like bleach and something else Emma couldn't name. Something sterile. Something that reminded her this wasn't home. Not that she had one anymore. Diane Chen walked beside her, one hand hovering near Emma's shoulder, but not touching. The social worker had learned that lesson quickly. Emma flinched at unexpected contact. "The room is just up ahead," Diane said. "You'll have your own bed, your own space." Emma nodded. Her prosthetic clicked against the linoleum with each step. The sound echoed off the walls. "Will there be other kids?" "Not in your room. You'll be in the pediatric observation wing. It's quieter there." Quieter. Emma almost laughed. She'd spent 2 years learning to be quiet. Quiet meant safe. Quiet meant Victor didn't notice her. Quiet meant one more day without bruises. Now quiet just meant alone. A nurse met them at the room. Middle-aged, tired eyes, but her smile was genuine. "You must be Emma. I'm Patricia. I'll be checking on you tonight." "Hi, are you hungry? The cafeteria is closed, but I can get you something from the break room." Emma shook her head. The sandwich from the airport still sat heavy in her stomach. The first full meal she'd had in days. Jake had given her that. Jake and the dog. "Maybe later," she said. Patricia nodded, like she understood more than Emma had said. "The call button is right here. Press it if you need anything. Anything at all." Emma climbed onto the bed. The sheets were clean, crisp, nothing like the stained mattress in the room Victor had given her. The room that used to be a storage closet. Diane sat in the chair beside the bed. "I need to ask you some more questions. Is that okay?" "Now?" "Some of them. The rest can wait until tomorrow." Emma pulled her knees to her chest. The prosthetic made it awkward, but she managed. "Okay." Diane opened her folder. "Can you tell me about your mother?" The question hit Emma like a slap. "She was sick. For a long time. Cancer." "I'm sorry." Emma picked at the blanket. "She tried to protect me. Before she died. She made Victor promise to take care of me. Made him swear on the Bible." "And after she passed?" He stopped pretending. Diane wrote something down. "What do you mean?" "When Mom was alive, he was nice to me. Bought me things, took me places. But after..." Emma's voice trailed off. "After?" "He said I was a burden. Said I cost too much money. Said my leg was why they couldn't go on vacation. Why they couldn't have nice things." "Your prosthetic?" "The socket cracked 6 months after Mom died. I told him it hurt. He said I was being dramatic." Diane's pen stopped moving. "Emma, how long has that prosthetic been causing you pain?" "A year and a half." "Every day?" Emma looked at her like it was a stupid question. "Yes." The social worker's hand trembled slightly as she wrote. Emma noticed. Adults always thought kids didn't notice things like that. "What about school?" Diane asked. "I stopped going." "When?" "Last January. Victor said he was homeschooling me, but he never taught me anything. I just stayed in my room." "Did anyone check on you?" "A lady came once, from the school district. Victor told her I had special needs, and regular school was too stressful. She believed him. Diane's jaw tightened. What happened when you told your teacher about Victor? Emma's hands gripped the blanket harder. Mrs. Patterson, 4th grade. She was nice. She said she had to report it because it was the law. And then? A man came to the house, asked Victor questions. Victor said I was lying for attention because I missed my mom. The man looked around, said everything seemed fine, and left. Did Victor hurt you after that? Emma's silence was answer enough. What did he do? Locked me in the closet for 3 days. Only let me out to use the bathroom. Said if I ever told anyone again, he'd make it permanent. Diane set her pen down. Her eyes were wet. Emma, I need you to know something. What happened before? The people who were supposed to help you and didn't? That was wrong. They failed you. I know. But I'm not going to fail you. Do you understand? Emma looked at her. Really looked. She'd heard promises before. From teachers, from doctors, from the man who came to the house and said everything seemed fine. Okay, she said. She didn't believe it, but she said it anyway. Because what choice did she have? The door opened. A doctor walked in, young, serious, clipboard in hand. Emma Cole? Yes? I'm Dr. Williams. I need to examine your leg, the prosthetic and the tissue underneath. Is that all right? Emma tensed. Why? The paramedics reported significant irritation. I want to make sure there's no infection. Diane leaned forward. You can say no, Emma. It's your body. Emma considered. The leg had hurt for so long she'd forgotten what not hurting felt like. Maybe that was just how it was. Maybe that was just her life. But Jake's voice echoed in her head. You're safe here. Okay, she said. You can look. Dr. Williams pulled on gloves. Gently, carefully, he removed the prosthetic. Emma watched his face. She saw the moment his expression changed. How long has it been like this? His voice was tight, controlled. Like what? The socket, the skin breakdown, the scarring. I don't know. A long time. He turned to Diane. I need to photograph this, for the medical record, and for law enforcement. Of course. And I'm ordering additional scans. There may be bone involvement. Emma didn't know what that meant, but she knew it was bad from the way they looked at each other. Am I going to lose my leg? She asked. Dr. Williams stopped. His clinical mask slipped for just a second. No, Emma. We're going to fix this. You should have had proper care a long time ago. We're going to give it to you now. Promise? The word came out before she could stop it. Childish. Desperate. Dr. Williams met her eyes. Promise. The examination took 45 minutes. Dr. Williams documented everything. Every scar, every pressure wound, every sign of neglect. When he finished, he stepped outside to talk to Diane. They thought Emma couldn't hear them. They were wrong. The level of medical neglect is criminal, Dr. Williams said. That socket should have been replaced 18 months ago. The tissue damage is consistent with prolonged wearing of an ill-fitting prosthetic. She's been in constant pain. Can you put that in writing? I'll have the report ready by morning. The prosecutor will have everything they need. What about treatment? We need to address the tissue damage first. Then she'll need a completely new prosthetic. Properly fitted. By someone who actually knows what they're doing. How long? Weeks at minimum. She shouldn't walk on that leg until we get her fitted properly. Emma pulled the blanket tighter around herself. Weeks. She'd been walking on that leg for over a year. Gritting her teeth, pretending it didn't hurt. Now they were telling her she couldn't walk at all. Diane came back in. Her smile was too bright, too forced. "Good news. The doctor says they can help you." "I heard." Diane's smile faltered. "I'm not stupid," Emma said. "I know it's bad. It's complicated. I've been walking wrong for a year and a half. Now I can't walk at all. That's not complicated. That's my life." Diane sat back down. This time, she didn't reach for her folder. "You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. Everyone treats me like I'm going to break. I'm not. I already broke a long time ago." The words hung in the air. Diane took a breath. "Emma, can I tell you something?" "What?" "I've been doing this job for 15 years. I've seen a lot of kids come through the system. Some of them angry. Some of them scared. Some of them so beaten down they can't even make eye contact. And me? You're different. You're all of those things. But you're also something else." "What?" "Brave. What you did today, running away, asking a stranger for help, standing up and telling the truth in front of Victor. That took courage. More courage than most adults have." Emma's throat tightened. "I was scared." "Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you do the hard thing anyway." A tear slid down Emma's cheek. She wiped it away quickly. "Jake said I was safe. At the airport." "The Navy SEAL?" "Yeah. He promised he'd be here when I got discharged." "Do you believe him?" Emma thought about it. About the way Jake had looked at her. About the way Titan had stood between her and Victor. About the chair he'd pushed back with his boot. "It's yours. It's always yours." "Yeah," she said. "I believe him." Diane nodded. "Then hold on to that. In the days ahead, you're going to need people to believe in. Let him be one of them." "What about you?" Diane smiled, a real smile this time. "I'll do my best to earn it." The night passed slowly. Emma drifted in and out of sleep, waking every time footsteps passed her door. Old habits. In Victor's house, footsteps meant danger, meant he was coming, meant she needed to be ready. Here, the footsteps were just nurses doing rounds, checking on patients, making sure everyone was okay. No one had checked on Emma in 2 years. Around 3 in the morning, she gave up on sleep entirely. She sat up in bed, looking out the window at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Victor was in a cell, waiting. What was he thinking right now? Was he angry? Scared? Planning his next move? Emma shivered. "You okay?" Patricia had appeared in the doorway, quiet, concerned. "Can't sleep. Want some company?" Emma hesitated, then nodded. Patricia came in and sat in the chair Diane had occupied earlier. "Bad dreams?" "I didn't get far enough into sleep to dream." Patricia smiled sadly. "That happens sometimes, especially after a day like you've had." "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "What happens now? Like, really happens, not the nice version." Patricia studied her for a moment. "The honest version?" "Yeah." "Tomorrow, the social worker will start looking for a placement, somewhere safe for you to stay while the court figures out what to do about Victor." "A foster home?" "Maybe. Or a group home. Depends on what's available." "What if I don't like it?" "Then you tell someone. You have rights, Emma. More than you probably realize." "Rights?" Emma almost laughed. "I had rights before. Didn't help much." Patricia leaned forward. "Listen to me. What happened before? The system failing you. That was real. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't. But there are people fighting for you now. That social worker. That man at the airport. They see you. They believe you. Why? Because the truth has a way of showing itself. You showed it today. Emma pulled her knees up again. Victor's going to try to get out. He's going to say I'm lying. He can say whatever he wants. There's evidence now. Photos, medical records, that audio from the airport. What audio? Patricia hesitated. I probably shouldn't have mentioned that. What audio? The nurse sighed. The security cameras at the airport have microphones. When the man, Victor, leaned down to talk to you, they recorded it. Emma's blood went cold. She remembered that moment. Jake had stepped away to talk to a police officer. Victor had leaned close, his breath hot and sour. Next time you pull this, you're not walking out. They heard that? They heard everything. Emma felt something crack inside her chest, something that had been wound tight for years. He can't talk his way out of that, she whispered. No, he can't. For the first time in 2 years, Emma felt something she'd almost forgotten how to feel. Hope. She hated how fragile it was. The sun was barely up when Diane returned the next morning. She looked like she hadn't slept either. How are you feeling? Tired. I know. I'm sorry to wake you, but there's been a development. Emma's stomach clenched. What kind of development? Victor's lawyer is already trying to make bail. What? It was expected. Don't panic. Don't panic? He threatened to... I know. The prosecutor is fighting it. They're presenting the evidence this morning, including the audio. Emma's hands shook. What if the judge lets him out? Then we get a restraining order. We increase security. We make sure you're protected. That's not enough. Emma, you don't know him. You don't know what he's like when he's angry. When someone embarrasses him, he doesn't forget. Diane knelt beside the bed. Look at me. Emma did. I have spent 15 years protecting children from people like Victor Shaw. I have seen the worst that human beings can do to each other. And I am telling you, he is not going to touch you again. How can you promise that? Because there are people standing between you and him now. People who will not move. Like who? Diane smiled. Like a Navy SEAL who missed his flight so he could stay and make sure you were okay. Emma's breath caught. He's still here? He slept in the waiting room, wouldn't leave until he knew you were settled. Why would he do that? Because some people are exactly who they appear to be, Emma. Rare, but real. A knock on the door. Patricia poked her head in. Sorry to interrupt. There's someone here to see Emma. Says he has a promise to keep. Emma looked at Diane. Diane nodded. Send him in. The door opened wider. Jake Brennan walked in. He looked exhausted. His clothes were wrinkled. His eyes were tired. But he was smiling. Told you I'd be here. Emma didn't cry. She wanted to. The pressure behind her eyes was enormous, but she just nodded instead. You did. Jake pulled up a chair. Titan padded in behind him, settling at the foot of Emma's bed like he belonged there. How you holding up? Okay, I guess. That's better than bad. Victor's trying to get out, on bail. Jake's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. I heard. Are you worried? No. Why not? Jake leaned forward. Because I know how this works. Men like Victor, they think they're untouchable. They think they can hurt people and get away with it because they always have. But eventually, they push too far. They make the wrong enemy. They mess with the wrong kid. And then? And then people like me show up. Emma studied him. What does that mean? It means I'm not going anywhere until this is over. It means my dog has decided you're his responsibility. And it means Victor Shaw just became my problem. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. Why? You don't even know me. Jake was quiet for a moment. You know what I was doing before I met you? Sitting in that cafe, feeling sorry for myself. I'd just finished a job that went sideways. People got hurt. I couldn't stop it. I was supposed to fly home and figure out what to do with the rest of my life. What does that have to do with me? Everything. Jake met her eyes. You walked into that cafe looking for one person who wouldn't turn away, and I was sitting there, wondering if I still had anything left to give. His voice was rough. You reminded me. Emma's vision blurred. Reminded you of what? That it matters. Standing up, showing up, being there when someone needs you. It matters. A tear escaped, despite Emma's best efforts. Titan stood, walked to her side, and rested his head against her arm. His fur was warm, his presence solid. He really does that, she whispered. The thing you told me about, finding people who need him. Yeah, he does. Emma put her hand on Titan's head. Thank you, she said, for sitting in that cafe, for saying yes, for staying. Jake nodded. Thank you for asking. Diane's phone buzzed. She looked at it. Her expression shifted. News? Jake asked. The bail hearing is happening now. Prosecutor just texted me. They're presenting the evidence. Emma's hand tightened on Titan's fur. The next hour would determine everything. Whether Victor walked free. Whether she'd have to keep running. Whether any of this had mattered at all. Jake must have seen the fear in her face. Hey. She looked at him. Whatever happens in that courtroom, it doesn't change what happens in this room. You're not alone anymore. You hear me? Emma nodded, but the fear didn't leave. It never really left. It just waited. Diane's phone buzzed again. She read the message. Her face changed. Emma stopped breathing. What? What is it? Diane looked up. Her eyes were wet. Bail denied. Emma blinked. What? Bail denied. The judge saw the evidence, heard the audio. He's being held without bail pending trial. He's not getting out? He's not getting out. The pressure that had been building in Emma's chest for 2 years finally broke. She sobbed. Not quiet tears, not controlled crying. Great, heaving sobs that shook her entire body. Jake didn't say anything. He just moved his chair closer and let her cry. Titan pressed harder against her side, and for the first time in as long as she could remember, Emma let herself feel it all. The fear, the pain, the hope. All of it. Because someone had finally believed her, and Victor Shaw was exactly where he belonged. The tears lasted longer than Emma expected. When they finally stopped, she felt hollow, empty, like something had been carved out of her chest, and she wasn't sure what was left. Jake handed her a tissue from the box on the bedside table. Better? I don't know. Her voice was raw. Different. Different is a start. Diane's phone kept buzzing. Messages from the prosecutor, updates from the police, the machinery of justice grinding forward. Emma, there's more, Diane said carefully. The police want to interview you formally, on camera. They need your statement for the trial. Emma's stomach dropped. I have to talk about it? All of it? Only what you're comfortable sharing, but yes, the more detail you can provide, the stronger the case against Victor. When? This afternoon, if you're up for it. Emma looked at Jake. He hadn't moved from his chair. Will you be there? If you want me there. I want you there, Jake nodded. Then I'll be there. The interview room was smaller than Emma expected. A table, 4 chairs, a camera mounted in the corner. nothing else. Detective Maria Santos sat across from Emma. She was younger than the other officers Emma had seen. Hispanic, kind eyes, a small cross necklace visible above her collar. "You can stop any time you need to," Detective Santos said. "Take breaks, ask questions. This is your pace, Emma, not mine." "Okay, I'm going to start by asking about your life before your mother passed. Is that all right?" Emma nodded. "Can you tell me about your mother?" The question opened something, a door Emma had kept locked for 2 years. "Her name was Sarah. She was a nurse. She worked the night shift at the county hospital so she could be home when I got back from school." "Were you close?" "She was my best friend." Emma's voice cracked. "After my dad died, it was just us. For years. We did everything together." "How did she meet Victor?" Emma's hands clenched in her lap. "At the hospital. He came in for something, I don't remember what. He was charming, funny. He brought her flowers every day for a month." "How did you feel about him?" "I didn't like him. Not at first. But Mom was happy. She hadn't been happy in a long time. So I tried." "When did they get married?" "A year after they met. I was 8. "And things were good at first?"
Seemed like it.
"Victor bought us a bigger house, got me a new bike for Christmas, took us on a vacation to Florida." Detective Santos leaned forward slightly. "When did things change?" Emma closed her eyes. "When Mom got sick." "Tell me about that." "She started losing weight, getting tired all the time. The doctors found it late, stage 4. They said she had maybe a year." "How did Victor react?" "At first he was perfect. Took care of her, took care of me. Made sure she had everything she needed. And then? The money started running out. Medical bills, treatments that insurance wouldn't cover. Victor had to sell the house. We moved into an apartment." Emma opened her eyes. "That's when I saw it. The real him. When the money got tight, his mask started slipping." "What do you mean?" "Little things at first. Snapping at me for leaving lights on. Complaining about how much my leg cost. Saying my appointments were a waste of money." "Your prosthetic appointments?" "Yeah, I was still growing. The socket needed adjustments every few months. Victor started skipping them. Said we couldn't afford it." "Did your mother know?" "She was too sick to notice. Too drugged up on pain medication. By the end, she didn't even recognize me some days." Detective Santos's voice softened. "I'm sorry, Emma." "Don't be. It wasn't your fault." "When did your mother pass?" 2 years ago, March 15th, 3:22 in the morning. I was holding her hand. And Victor? He was asleep on the couch. Didn't wake up until the hospice nurse came." The room was silent for a moment. "What happened after the funeral?" Detective Santos asked. "Victor changed. Completely. Like he'd been playing a role the whole time my mom was alive, and now he didn't have to anymore." "Changed how?" "The first week he cleaned out her closet, threw everything away. Her clothes, her photos, her jewelry, all of it. I tried to save some things. A necklace she used to wear, a letter she wrote me when I was born. He found them and burned them." "Why?" "He said we needed to move on. Said holding on to the past was weakness." "What else did he do?" Emma's breathing quickened. "He made me stop calling him Victor. Said I had to call him Dad. I refused. He slapped me so hard I fell down. My prosthetic came loose and I couldn't stand up." "What did he do then?" "Stood over me and said if I ever disrespected him again, I'd learn what real pain felt like." Detective Santos's jaw tightened. She wrote something in her notebook. "Did the abuse get worse over time?" "Yes." "Can you tell me about it?" Emma looked at Jake. He was sitting in the corner, perfectly still. Titan lay at his feet. Jake nodded slightly. You can do this. Emma turned back to the detective. It started with slaps. When I did something wrong, forgot to clean up, talked back, didn't move fast enough. Then it was punches, then kicks, then... She stopped. Take your time. He had a belt, leather, with a metal buckle. He kept it hanging on the back of his bedroom door. Did he use it on you? When he was really angry, when he'd been drinking. How often? Once a week, sometimes more. Where did he hit you? Back, legs, places that wouldn't show when I was dressed. Detective Santos set her pen down. Emma, I have to ask you something difficult. Did Victor ever touch you inappropriately? Emma shook her head quickly. No, never. He said I was too ugly for that. The words came out matter-of-factly, like she was reporting the weather. Jake's hands clenched. Titan's head came up. I'm sorry he said that to you, Detective Santos said. It's fine. I knew he was lying. My mom used to tell me I was beautiful. I believed her more than him. Good. Hold on to that. I try. The interview continued for another hour. Emma talked about the closet Victor locked her in, the meals he withheld, the school he pulled her out of, the doctors he stopped taking her to see. She talked about the prosthetic that cracked and was never fixed, the socket that dug into her skin until it bled, the pain she learned to hide because complaining made everything worse. She talked about the night she finally ran. He came home drunk, drunker than usual, started throwing things, breaking dishes. I hid in my room, but he found me. What happened? He grabbed my arm, said I was the reason his life was ruined, said if my mother hadn't had me, she never would have gotten sick, said I was a curse. Is that when he made the threat, about making sure you couldn't walk? Yes, he said he'd take a hammer to my good leg, make me match. The room went cold. I waited until he passed out, took $40 from his wallet, called a cab on the house phone, and I left. Why the airport? Emma's eyes glistened. My dad. He flew out of Denver when he deployed. Mom used to take me there when I was little. She'd tell me stories about him, about how brave he was, about how he would have loved me. You were looking for him. I was looking for someone like him. She glanced at Jake again. I found someone. Detective Santos closed her notebook. Emma, you've been incredibly brave today. What you've shared is going to help make sure Victor never hurts anyone again. Promise? I promise to do everything in my power. Emma nodded slowly. It wasn't the same as a guarantee, but it was something. The interview ended just after 4 o'clock. Emma was exhausted. The kind of tired that went deeper than sleep could fix. Diane met them in the hallway. You did amazing, Emma. I just told the truth. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. Jake walked beside Emma as they headed back to her room. Titan stayed close, his shoulder brushing against her good leg with every step. You okay? Jake asked quietly. No. Fair enough. I keep thinking about what he said. Victor. About me being a curse. About my mom getting sick because of me. Jake stopped walking. Hey, look at me. Emma did. That's a lie. You know that, right? I know, but knowing doesn't make it stop hurting. No, it doesn't. But here's what I know. Your mother loved you. She fought to stay alive for you. And the fact that she got sick had nothing to do with you and everything to do with bad luck and biology. How do you know she loved me? Because you turned out like this. Emma blinked. Like what? Brave, honest, kind, even after everything you've been through. That doesn't happen by accident. Someone loved you right. Emma's eyes filled with tears again. I miss her. I know. Every day. I know that too. They started walking again, slower this time. Jake? Yeah? What happens now, after the trial? You find a place to live, somewhere safe. You get a new prosthetic that actually fits. You go back to school. You start building a life. That sounds impossible. It's not. It's just hard. But you've already done the hardest part. What's that? You survived. When they reached Emma's room, Diane was waiting with news. I found a temporary placement, a foster family in the suburbs. They specialize in children with medical needs. Emma's chest tightened. A foster family? The Hendersons, married 30 years, 3 grown children. They fostered over 40 kids. Do they know about me? About my leg? They know everything. They want to meet you. When? Tomorrow afternoon, if you're ready. Emma looked at Jake, at Titan, at the hospital room that had become a strange kind of sanctuary. What if they don't like me? Diane smiled. What if they do? Emma didn't have an answer for that. The next morning, Dr. Williams returned with results. The scans show no bone infection. That's the good news. What's the bad news? The tissue damage is extensive. You'll need several weeks of treatment before we can even think about fitting a new prosthetic. Weeks? I know it feels like forever, but we need to do this right. Will I be able to walk, eventually? Not just walk, run, play, do everything a kid your age should be doing, but only if we're patient now. Emma looked at her leg, the one that had caused her nothing but pain for 18 months. Okay. There's one more thing. A prosthetic specialist is coming this afternoon. She wants to meet you. Start planning your new leg. Who is she? Dr. Rebecca Hayes. She's one of the best in the country. Works with veterans, athletes, children. When she heard about your case, she volunteered. Volunteered? Pro bono, no charge. Emma didn't understand. Why would she do that? Dr. Williams glanced at Jake, then back at Emma. Because some people show up when it matters. Dr. Rebecca Hayes arrived at 2 o'clock. She was in her 50s, gray hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, calluses on her hands from years of work. She moved with purpose, no wasted motion. You must be Emma. Yes, ma'am. I've reviewed your medical files. What you've been through with that prosthetic is nothing short of criminal. That's what everyone keeps saying. Because it's true. But here's what I want you to know. We're going to fix this. Not just fix it. Make it right. How? Dr. Hayes pulled up a chair. First, we wait for your leg to heal. That's non-negotiable. Then, we take detailed measurements, scans, impressions. We build you a socket that fits perfectly. Not close to perfectly. Perfectly. That's possible? With the right technology and the right technician? Absolutely. Emma studied her. Why are you doing this for free? Dr. Hayes smiled. You want the honest answer? Yes. 20 years ago, I was you. Different circumstances, but the same story. I needed help. Someone showed up. Now I show up for others. Who helped you? A doctor at the VA. He stayed late every night for a month to make sure my prosthetic was right. Wouldn't take a dime. Saeed helping me was payment enough. Is he still around? He passed 10 years ago. Cancer. I'm sorry. Don't be. He lived a good life, and he taught me the most important lesson I ever learned. What's that? That the help we receive isn't really for us. It's borrowed. We're supposed to pass it on. Emma felt something shift inside her chest. Is that why you're here? Passing it on? That's exactly why I'm here. Jake had been quiet through the conversation. Now he spoke. Dr. Hayes, what kind of timeline are we looking at for Emma to be walking normally? 3 months minimum, 6 months for full recovery. But she'll be mobile long before that. Crutches first, then a temporary prosthetic, then the permanent one. And after that? After that, Emma will be able to do anything she wants. The technology has come a long way. There's no reason she can't live a completely normal life. Emma's voice was small. Normal. Yes, normal. I don't know what that feels like. Dr. Hayes reached out and put her hand on Emma's. You will. The Hendersons arrived at 4. Margaret Henderson was 62, silver-haired, with a warm smile that crinkled the corners of her eyes. Her husband Robert was 65, tall and quiet, with hands that looked like they'd built things. You must be Emma, Margaret said. Yes, ma'am. Please, call me Margaret, or Maggie. Ma'am makes me feel ancient. Robert chuckled. She is ancient. Don't let her fool you. Robert! It's true. Married 30 years. I've got the battle scars to prove it. Emma felt something unexpected. She felt like laughing. Margaret sat down beside the bed. Emma, I'm not going to pretend we know everything you've been through. We don't. But we want you to know that our home is safe, quiet, and there's always room at our table. How many kids do you have? Right now, I mean. Just one, a boy named Marcus. He's 12, has cerebral palsy, uses a wheelchair. Does he know about me? He's the one who told us to come, said anyone who went through what you did deserves a family that understands. Emma's throat tightened. He sounds nice. He's a handful, but yes, he's nice. Robert leaned forward. Emma, I want to be straight with you. We're not going to replace your parents. We're not going to try to make you forget them. But we can give you a place to heal, a place to figure out who you want to be. What if I'm not easy to live with? Nobody is. Ask Maggie about my snoring. Don't get me started, Margaret said. The man sounds like a freight train. A distinguished freight train, Emma smiled. Actually smiled. When would I come stay with you? Whenever you're ready. The room is set up. We've got a medical bed, just in case. Titan is welcome, too. Emma blinked. Titan? Diane mentioned you've bonded with the dog. We called Mr. Brennan this morning. He's agreed to visit as often as he can. Bring Titan to see you. Emma looked at Jake. You did that? Diane asked. I said yes. But your flight, San Diego. Don't you have to go home? Jake shrugged. Home can wait. The tears came again. Emma didn't even try to stop them. Why are you all being so nice to me? Margaret reached out and took her hand. Because you deserve it, sweetheart. You've always deserved it. You just didn't have anyone around who could see that. But you don't even know me. We know enough. We know you're brave. We know you've been through hell. And we know you need people in your corner. What if I mess up? What if I'm too much trouble? Robert's voice was gentle but firm. Then we figure it out together. That's what families do. Family. The word hit Emma like a wave. She hadn't had a family in 2 years. She'd almost forgotten what it felt like. Okay, she whispered. Okay, what? Okay, I'll come stay with you. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. Oh, honey, you just made my whole year. It's only March. Doesn't matter. Still my whole year. Robert stood up, clearing his throat like he was trying not to get emotional. Well then, we've got a room to finish setting up. Maggie, we should let Emma rest. You're right. Margaret squeezed Emma's hand once more. We'll see you soon, sweetheart. Real soon. They left. The room felt different after they were gone. Lighter. Jake was still there. Titan was still there. Emma looked at them both. Did that just happen? It did. They want me. They actually want me. They do. Why doesn't this feel real? Jake smiled. Give it time. It'll sink in. Emma leaned back against her pillow. For the first time in longer than she could remember, she wasn't thinking about Victor. She was thinking about a room in a house she'd never seen. A boy named Marcus, who used a wheelchair and told his parents to take in a stranger. A woman who called her sweetheart like she meant it. A man who made jokes about snoring and talked about family like it was the most natural thing in the world. She was thinking about tomorrow, and for once, tomorrow didn't feel like something to survive. It felt like something to hope for. Jake stood up slowly. I should let you rest. Big day tomorrow. Will you come? When I leave the hospital? Wouldn't miss it. Promise? Cross my heart. Titan walked to the bed one last time. Pressed his nose against Emma's hand. She scratched behind his ear. You'll come too, right? To the Hendersons? Titan's tail wagged. I'll take that as a yes. Jake headed for the door. Stopped. Turned back. Emma? Yeah? Your dad, the Marine. What about him? He'd be proud of you. What you did. How you handled all of this. He'd be damn proud. Emma's eyes blurred. You think so? I know so. He walked out. The door closed softly behind him. Emma sat alone in the quiet room. But she didn't feel alone. Not anymore. She looked out the window at the fading light. Somewhere out there, Victor Shaw sat in a cell. Somewhere out there, the Hendersons were preparing a room. Somewhere out there, her future was waiting. Emma closed her eyes. For the first time in 2 years, she fell asleep without fear. 3 weeks passed like a slow exhale. Emma moved into the Henderson house on a Tuesday. Margaret met her at the door with fresh cookies and a hug that lasted longer than any hug Emma had received in years. Welcome home, sweetheart. Home. The word still felt foreign on Emma's tongue. Marcus was waiting in the living room, his wheelchair positioned near the window where the afternoon light came through. You're Emma, he said. You're Marcus. Mom says you've been through some stuff. Your mom's not wrong. Cool, me too. Want to play video games? Emma almost laughed. I don't really know how. I'll teach you. Fair warning, I'm really good. I believe you. You should. I beat my dad last week, and he cried. I did not cry, Robert called from the kitchen. I had allergies. He cried, Marcus whispered. Emma smiled. A real smile. Maybe this would be okay. The first week was harder than Emma expected. She jumped at loud noises, flinched when Robert moved too quickly, couldn't sleep without a light on in the hallway. Margaret noticed everything, but said nothing. Just left the hallway light on without being asked. Made sure Robert announced himself before entering a room. Kept the television volume low. Small adjustments. Quiet kindnesses. Emma noticed too. Dr. Hayes came twice a week to check on Emma's leg. The tissue was healing. Slowly, but healing. Another 2 weeks and we can start fitting the temporary prosthetic, she said during one visit. That fast? Your body wants to heal, Emma. We just had to give it a chance. Jake visited every Saturday. He'd show up around noon with Titan, and they'd sit on the back porch while Marcus showed off his latest video game achievements. You're getting better, Jake told Emma during the 3rd week. At video games? At everything. You're standing straighter, talking more, smiling. Marcus makes me laugh. Good, Laughter helps. Does it help you? With whatever happened overseas? Jake was quiet for a moment. Sometimes. Other times, I just need Titan and a long walk. Do you still have nightmares? Yeah. Not as often, but yeah. Me too. They get better, the nightmares. They don't go away, but they lose their teeth. Promise? Promise. The trial date was set for April 15th. Diane called the Hendersons with the news. The prosecutor is confident. The evidence is overwhelming. But Emma will need to testify. Margaret relayed the message to Emma that evening. You don't have to if you're not ready. They can use your recorded statement instead. Emma thought about it. Victor's face, his voice, the threat that still echoed in her head. Next time you pull this, you're not walking out. No, she said. I want to be there. I want him to see me. Are you sure? He spent 2 years making me invisible, making me think I was nothing. I want him to know I'm not nothing. I want him to watch me tell the truth. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. Then we'll be right there with you, every step. The night before the trial, Emma couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing through everything that could go wrong. What if the jury didn't believe her? What if Victor's lawyer made her look like a liar? What if she froze on the stand and couldn't speak? A soft knock on her door. Emma, you awake? Marcus. Yeah. The door opened. His wheelchair hummed softly as he rolled in. Mom sent me to check on you. She's worried. I'm fine. You're lying. Your voice does this thing when you lie. Gets higher. Emma almost smiled. Okay, I'm not fine. The trial? Yeah. Marcus rolled closer to the bed. Can I tell you something? Sure. When I was 7, I had to go to court. My biological dad wanted custody back. He'd hurt me when I was little. That's how I ended up with the Hendersons in the first place. Emma sat up. I didn't know that. Not many people do. I don't talk about it. What happened? At the trial? I had to testify. Tell the judge what he did to me. I was so scared I threw up in the bathroom before they called my name. Did you freeze? Almost. But then I looked at Mom and Dad. They were right there, front row. Mom was holding Dad's hands so tight her knuckles were white. What did that do? Made me realize I wasn't alone. I wasn't the scared little kid he hurt anymore. I was someone with people who loved me, people who would fight for me. Emma's throat tightened. Did they believe you? The judge? Yeah, they did. My biological dad lost. He went to prison. I never saw him again. Were you glad? I was relieved. It was like this weight I didn't even know I was carrying just lifted. Emma looked at him. You think that'll happen for me? I think you're stronger than you know. I think Victor Shaw messed with the wrong kid. And I think tomorrow, you're going to walk into that courtroom and show everyone exactly who Emma Cole really is. Tears slid down Emma's cheeks. What if I can't do it? Then you look at us. Me, Mom, Dad, Jake, Titan. We'll all be there, front row. And you remember, you're not fighting alone anymore. Emma wiped her eyes. Marcus? Yeah? Thank you. For what? For understanding. For not treating me like I'm broken. Marcus grinned. Broken? Please. You survived 2 years with a monster. That's not broken. That's titanium. Emma laughed through her tears. Titanium? Yeah, like the song, except less cheesy. You're weird. The best people are. He rolled toward the door, then stopped. Hey, Emma? Yeah? Tomorrow, when you're on that stand, remember one thing. What? He doesn't have power over you anymore. You took it back the moment you sat down at that table in the airport. The moment you asked a stranger for help.
That was your power, not his.
The door closed behind him. Emma lay back down. Her heart was still racing. But something had shifted. Marcus was right. She'd already done the hardest thing. She'd already taken her power back. Tomorrow was just making it official. The courthouse was bigger than Emma expected. Margaret held her hand as they walked up the steps. Robert walked on her other side. Marcus followed in his wheelchair, navigating the ramp with practiced ease. Jake and Titan were waiting inside. "You ready?" Jake asked. "No." "Good. Means you're taking it seriously." "That's supposed to make me feel better?" "Nope, just honest." Emma almost smiled. They found seats in the gallery, front row, just like Marcus promised. The courtroom filled slowly. Lawyers, reporters, strangers Emma didn't recognize. And then Victor walked in. Emma's blood turned to ice. He was wearing a suit, clean-shaven, hair combed. He looked like any other middle-aged businessman. He looked normal. That was the worst part. He looked like the man who'd charmed her mother, the man who'd brought flowers and taken them on vacation, the man everyone thought was so wonderful. Not the man who'd locked her in closets, who'd hit her with a belt, who'd let her suffer in a broken prosthetic for 18 months. Victor sat down at the defense table, and then he turned around. His eyes found Emma. He smiled. Not a threatening smile. Not an angry smile. A confident smile. The smile of a man who thought he was going to win. Emma felt her stomach drop. Margaret squeezed her hand. "Don't look at him. Look at us." Emma tore her eyes away, looked at Margaret, at Robert, at Marcus, at Jake, at Titan lying calmly at Jake's feet. The people who believed her. The people who would fight for her. She took a breath. The prosecutor, a woman named Catherine Wells, approached the bench. "Your Honor, the state calls Emma Cole to the stand." This was it. Emma stood. Her temporary prosthetic clicked against the floor as she walked forward. Dr. Hayes had fitted it just last week. It still felt strange, but it didn't hurt. Nothing hurt anymore. She reached the witness stand, raised her right hand, swore to tell the truth. Then she sat down and faced the courtroom. Catherine Wells approached. "Emma, can you state your full name for the record?" "Emma Rose Cole." "How old are you?" 10. "And can you identify the defendant in this case?" Emma looked at Victor. He was still smiling. "Victor Shaw. He married my mother. He was supposed to take care of me after she died." "And did he take care of you?" "No." "Can you tell the court what happened after your mother passed away?" Emma took a breath, and she told them everything. The beatings, the belt, the closet, the hunger, the prosthetic that was never fixed, the pain she'd learned to hide. She told them about the night she ran, about the $40 from his wallet, about the cab ride to the airport. She told them about the cafe, about the man who said yes when everyone else said no, about the dog who stood between her and Victor. She told them about the threat. "He said if I ever pulled this again, I wouldn't be walking out." "And what did you understand that to mean?" "That he would hurt me so bad I couldn't walk anymore." He'd said it before, that he'd take a hammer to my good leg. Gasps from the gallery. Victor's lawyer stood. "Objection, speculation." "Overruled. The witness is describing her understanding of a direct threat." Emma continued. She talked for 45 minutes. By the end, her voice was hoarse. Her eyes were dry. She had no more tears left. Catherine Wells nodded. "Thank you, Emma. No further questions." Victor's lawyer stood. His name was Daniel Morton. Gray hair, expensive suit, the kind of lawyer who made a living defending people who could afford to pay for doubt. "Emma, you've told quite a story today."
It's not a story, it's the truth.
"So you say. But isn't it true that you have a history of behavioral problems?"
No.
"Your school records indicate multiple disciplinary incidents before you were withdrawn from classes."
Victor made me lie. He told me to cause problems, so he'd have an excuse to pull me out.
"So you're saying you lied then, but you're telling the truth now?" "I'm saying he made me lie. There's a difference." Morton smiled. The same confident smile Victor had. "Emma, isn't it possible that you're angry at Mr. Shaw? That you resent him for the discipline he tried to provide? Discipline? Rules, structure, the things children need after losing a parent." Emma's hands clenched. "He didn't give me discipline. He gave me bruises. Bruises that could have come from anywhere. You admitted yourself that you fell frequently because of your prosthetic." "I didn't fall. He hit me. But there's no proof of that, is there? No witnesses. No photographs from the time it allegedly occurred. There are photographs now. The doctors examined you after you ran away, after you had every opportunity to injure yourself." "I didn't injure myself." "But we only have your word for that." Emma felt something rising in her chest. Not fear, anger. "You want proof?" she said. Her voice was louder now, stronger. "Ask the school. They reported twice. Ask the clinic. They flagged my prosthetic as dangerously outdated. Ask anyone who actually looked at me instead of looking away." Morton's smile faltered. "Miss Cole, my name is Emma, and I'm not lying. I've never lied about this. The only liar in this room is him." She pointed at Victor. The courtroom went silent. Victor's smile was gone. In its place was something Emma had never seen before. Fear. Morton cleared his throat. "No further questions." The judge called a recess. Emma stepped down from the stand on shaking legs. Margaret was there immediately. "You did it, sweetheart. You did it." "Did I?" "You were incredible, brave, strong, everything." Jake appeared beside her. "That lawyer tried to break you. You broke him instead." "I just told the truth." "Sometimes that's the most powerful weapon there is." Titan pressed against Emma's leg. She reached down and ran her fingers through his fur. "What happens now?" "Closing arguments. Then the jury decides." "How long?" "Could be hours, could be days." Emma looked back at the courtroom. Victor was being led away by the bailiffs. He glanced back once. Their eyes met. Emma didn't look away. She held his gaze until he was gone. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Emma sat in the hallway with the Hendersons, Jake, and Titan. Diane had joined them, her folder clutched in her hands. "Whatever happens," Diane said, "you should be proud of yourself." "What if they don't believe me?" "Then we appeal. We fight. We don't give up." "And if they do believe me?" "Then Victor Shaw goes to prison for a very long time." The door to the courtroom opened. A bailiff stepped out. "The jury has reached a verdict." Emma's heart stopped. Margaret took her hand. "Ready?" "No." "That's okay. We'll be ready together." They walked back into the courtroom. Emma took her seat, gripped the armrests, tried to remember how to breathe. The judge entered. The jury filed in. Emma watched their faces, tried to read them. Nothing. "Has the jury reached a verdict?" the judge asked. The foreman stood, an older man with glasses and a weathered face. "We have, Your Honor. On the charge of child abuse in the first degree, how do you find?" "Guilty." The word hit Emma like a wave. "On the charge of criminal neglect, how do you find?" "Guilty." On the charge of making terroristic threats against a minor. Guilty. Emma couldn't breathe. On the charge of custodial interference. Guilty. 4 counts. 4 guilty verdicts. The courtroom erupted. Victor's lawyer was already standing, already objecting, already demanding a poll of the jury. None of it mattered. Emma turned to Margaret. "He's going to prison?" "Yes, sweetheart. He's going to prison."
For how long?
Diane leaned forward, her voice trembling. "With these charges? 20 years, minimum." 20 years. Emma would be 30 years old before Victor Shaw saw the outside of a cell. She would be an adult. She would be free. She would be everything he told her she'd never become. The tears came then. Not tears of sadness, tears of relief, tears of victory. Jake put his hand on her shoulder. "You did it, Emma. You won." "We won," she whispered. "All of us." Victor was led away in handcuffs. As he passed Emma's row, he stopped. The bailiffs tried to move him forward. He resisted for just a second. "This isn't over," he said. His voice was cold, venomous. "Yes, it is." Emma's voice surprised even her. Steady, strong, unafraid. "You don't control me anymore. You don't scare me anymore. You're nothing now, just a number in a cell." Victor's face twisted, but before he could respond, the bailiffs yanked him forward. He was gone, really gone, forever. Margaret wrapped her arms around Emma. "I'm so proud of you, so incredibly proud." "Mom would have been proud too," Emma said. "Right?" "Oh, honey, your mother is watching right now, and she's smiling." Emma closed her eyes. For the first time in 2 years, she let herself believe it. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters. They shouted questions, pushed microphones forward, tried to get a statement. Jake and Titan formed a wall in front of Emma. "No comments," Jake said. "Give her space." They made it to the car. Robert drove. Margaret sat in back with Emma. Marcus was already home, waiting for news. "Can we stop somewhere?" Emma asked. "Where?" "The cemetery, where my mom is buried. I want to tell her." Margaret's eyes filled with tears. "Of course, sweetheart. Of course we can." The grave was simple. A headstone with her mother's name. Dates, a small inscription. "Beloved Mother, forever in our hearts." Emma stood there for a long time. Jake and Titan waited by the car, giving her space. "I did it, Mom," Emma whispered. "I got away. I told the truth. They believed me." The wind rustled through the trees. "I miss you. Every single day. But I'm okay now. I have people who love me. A family. A home." She knelt down, touched the cold stone. "I'm going to be okay, Mom. I promise." She stood, wiped her eyes, turned and walked back to the car. Jake opened the door for her. "You okay?" "Yeah, I am." "Good." Titan hopped into the back seat beside her. Emma put her arm around him. "Let's go home," she said. The car pulled away. In the rearview mirror, Emma watched the cemetery grow smaller. She wasn't leaving her mother behind. She was carrying her forward. Into the next chapter. Into the rest of her life. 6 months changed everything. Emma woke on a Saturday morning in September to the smell of pancakes drifting up from the kitchen. Margaret's pancakes. The ones with blueberries and that secret ingredient she refused to reveal. Home smelled like blueberry pancakes now. Emma swung her legs over the side of the bed. Her new prosthetic stood in its charging dock by the window. Dr. Hayes had finished the final fitting 3 weeks ago. Custom socket. microprocessor knee, carbon fiber foot. State of the art, Dr. Hayes had called it. Emma called it freedom. She attached the prosthetic with practiced ease. The socket fit perfectly. No pain, no rubbing, no grinding her teeth through every step. She stood, walked to the mirror. The girl looking back at her was different from the one who'd limped into that airport cafe 6 months ago. Her hair was longer now, properly cut, shining in the morning light. Her cheeks had filled out. Her eyes were clear. She looked healthy. She looked alive. "Emma, pancakes are getting cold." "Coming." She grabbed her hoodie and headed downstairs. The kitchen was chaos in the best way. Robert stood at the stove, flipping pancakes while humming off-key. Marcus was at the table, arguing with his phone about the score of last night's baseball game. Margaret was pouring orange juice, pretending she couldn't hear Robert's terrible humming. "Morning, sweetheart." "Morning." Emma slid into her seat. Her seat. The one by the window where the light came through just right. "Big day today," Robert said, setting a plate in front of her. "I know." "Nervous?" "A little." "That's normal. First day back at school is always nerve-wracking." Marcus looked up from his phone. "You're going to crush it. Middle school is easy." "You said middle school was the worst 3 years of your life." "For me. You're cooler than me." "That's not hard." "Hey." Margaret laughed. This was Emma's life now. Pancakes and teasing and laughter. She still couldn't believe it was real. The doorbell rang at 9. Emma knew who it was before Margaret opened the door. Jake stood on the porch. Titan sat beside him, tail wagging. "Ready for the big day?" "You came." "Told you I would. Wouldn't miss it." Emma knelt down to hug Titan. The dog pressed his head against her shoulder. "He's been restless all morning," Jake said. "I think he knew." "Knew what?" "That today was important." Emma stood. "It's just school." "It's not just school. It's you taking another step forward. That matters." Emma looked at Jake. 6 months ago, he'd been a stranger in an airport. Now, he was something else. Something she didn't have a word for. Not a father. She'd had a father. He was buried in Arlington. Not an uncle. She had no family left. Something new. Something that only existed because she'd asked 7 words at a table in a crowded cafe. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For showing up. Every time. Even when you didn't have to." Jake's eyes softened. "I'll always show up, Emma. That's not going to change." Margaret appeared with her car keys. "Ready to go?" Emma took a breath. "Yeah, I'm ready." The school was bigger than Emma remembered. She'd attended elementary school here, before Victor pulled her out. Before everything fell apart. But middle school was a different building. Different faces. Different everything. Marcus had given her advice the night before. Find the library. That's where the good kids hang out. Avoid the cafeteria on Taco Tuesday. Trust me. And if anyone gives you trouble, tell them your brother will run over their toes. Emma had laughed, but now, standing in front of the building, the advice felt far away. Margaret walked her to the entrance. "I'll be right here at 3 o'clock. If you need anything at all, call me." "I will." "And remember what Dr. Patterson said. It's okay to take breaks. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to ask for help." Dr. Patterson was Emma's therapist. She'd been seeing her twice a week since leaving the hospital. They talked about Victor, about her mother, about the nightmares that still came sometimes. They talked about healing. "I remember," Margaret hugged her. "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart." "I haven't done anything yet." "You showed up. That's everything." Emma walked through the doors. The hallway was crowded, loud, overwhelming. She gripped the strap of her backpack and kept moving. Her first class was English, room 204, second floor. She found it without too much trouble. The teacher, Mrs. Chen, smiled when Emma walked in. "You must be Emma Cole. Welcome. Take any seat you like." Emma chose a desk near the window. Old habits. The class filled up around her. Faces she didn't recognize. Voices she didn't know. A girl sat down next to her. Blonde hair, freckles, bright pink backpack. "Hi, I'm Sophie." "Emma. You're new?" "Sort of. I used to go to the elementary school here." "Before." "Before what?" Emma hesitated. "Before I had to leave." Sophie nodded like that made perfect sense. "I had to leave my old school too. My parents got divorced and we moved here." "That sucks." "Yeah, but it's better now. Different, but better." Emma felt something loosen in her chest. "Yeah, I know what you mean." The first week was hard. Emma got lost 3 times, forgot her locker combination twice, accidentally walked into the boys' bathroom once. But she survived. By the second week, she'd memorized her schedule, found the library, made friends with Sophie, who turned out to be obsessed with the same book series Emma loved. By the third week, she raised her hand in class for the first time. Mrs. Chen had asked a question about symbolism in their reading assignment. Emma knew the answer. She'd always known answers. She'd just been too scared to speak. Not anymore. "The bird represents freedom," Emma said, "but also fear. Because freedom means not knowing what comes next." Mrs. Chen smiled. "Excellent insight, Emma." The boy behind her whispered, "Nerd." Emma turned around. "Thank you." He looked confused. "That wasn't a compliment." "I took it as one." The boy had nothing to say to that. Sophie laughed under her breath. Emma faced forward again, a small smile on her face. She was going to be okay. Halloween came with an unexpected visitor. Jake showed up at the Henderson house with Titan, as usual. But this time, he had news. "I'm taking a job. San Diego. Finally going home." Emma felt her stomach drop. "You're leaving?" "Not forever. Just relocating." "But you visit every week." "I know, and I'll still visit. Just less often." Emma nodded, tried to keep her face neutral. "That's good. You should go home." Jake studied her. "You're upset." "I'm not." "Your voice does that thing when you lie. Gets higher." "Marcus says that too. He learned it from me." Emma laughed despite herself. "I'm not upset. I'm going to miss you. And Titan. We'll video call every Sunday, and I'll fly back once a month. I promise." "You always keep your promises." "Always." Titan walked over and sat at Emma's feet. She reached down and scratched behind his ears. "Does he have to go too?" Jake was quiet for a moment. "Actually, I wanted to talk to you about that." "About what?" "Titan." Emma looked up. "What about him?" "He's getting older. Not much, but enough. The travel is harder on him now. And I was thinking," Jake knelt down next to her, "how would you feel about keeping him?" Emma's heart stopped. "What?" "He's bonded with you. You know that. From the first moment you sat down at that table. And I think he'd be happier here." "But he's your dog. He saved your life." "He did. And now he can save yours." "I don't need saving anymore." "Maybe not. But you need a friend. Someone who'll always be there. Someone who'll never judge you, never leave you, never let you down." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Jake, I'm not abandoning him. I'm giving him a new mission. The most important mission he's ever had." "What mission?" Jake smiled. "Protecting Emma Cole. Margaret appeared in the doorway. We already talked about it. Titan is welcome here for as long as he wants to stay. Emma looked at the dog. Titan looked back at her with those calm, knowing eyes. The same eyes that had seen through her in that airport cafe. The same eyes that had recognized danger before anyone else. The same eyes that had watched over her through the hardest months of her life. "You really want to stay with me?" she whispered. Titan's tail wagged. Once. Solid. Certain. Emma threw her arms around him. Okay. You can stay." Jake stood. "Take care of him." "I will." "And let him take care of you." "I will." Jake headed for the door. Stopped. Turned back. "Emma?" "Yeah?" "That day at the airport, when you asked if the seat was taken." "What about it?" "You saved me too. You know that, right? I was lost. Didn't know what my life was for anymore. And then this brave, broken kid showed up and reminded me why I got up in the morning." Emma couldn't speak. "Thank you for that." He walked out. Emma watched him go. Titan pressed against her side. She put her arm around him. "It's you and me now, buddy." Titan's tail wagged again. That was answer enough. Thanksgiving was the first holiday Emma had celebrated in years. Victor hadn't believed in holidays. Too expensive. Too much trouble. Too much joy. Margaret believed in all of it. The table was packed. Robert carved the turkey while Margaret directed traffic. Marcus had invited 2 friends from school. Sophie came with her mom. Jake had flown in from San Diego. And in the corner, under the table, Titan waited patiently for scraps. When it came time to say what they were thankful for, Emma froze. She'd never done this before. But Margaret nodded at her encouragingly. Emma took a breath. "I'm thankful for second chances. For people who show up when you need them most. For dogs who know things before you do." She looked around the table. "And I'm thankful for this. For all of you. For being given a family when I thought I'd never have one again." Margaret was crying. Robert was pretending not to cry. Marcus was definitely crying, but would deny it later. Jake raised his glass. "To second chances." "To second chances," everyone echoed. Emma looked at Titan. The dog looked back at her. She could have sworn he was smiling. Winter came hard that year. Snow piled up outside the Henderson house. School was canceled 3 days in a row. Emma spent the time curled up with Titan, reading books and watching movies with Marcus. On the 3rd snow day, Diane Chen called. "I have news. About Victor." Emma's stomach clenched. She hadn't thought about Victor in weeks. Hadn't let herself. "What kind of news?" "He appealed his conviction. Filed it 2 months ago." "And?" "Denied. All of it. The judge reviewed the evidence and found no grounds for reversal." Emma exhaled. "So he's still in prison?" "For at least another 18 years, probably more." "He can't get out early?" "Not a chance. He's classified as a violent offender with multiple convictions. He'll serve his full sentence." Emma sank onto the couch. Titan jumped up beside her, pressing close. "It's really over?" "It's really over, Emma. He can't hurt you anymore. He can't hurt anyone." That night, Emma dreamed about the airport. But it wasn't a nightmare. She was sitting at the table again. The same table. The same cafe. Jake was there. Titan was there. And across from her sat a woman with kind eyes and a warm smile. Mom. "I'm proud of you, baby girl. I miss you." "I know, but I'm always with you. Every step, every breath, every heartbeat. It's hard sometimes, being here without you." "I know, but you're not alone. You have Margaret and Robert, Marcus, Jake, Titan,
Sophie, you have a whole life waiting for you. What if I mess it up? Then you try again. That's what living is. Trying and failing and trying again. That sounds exhausting. Her mother laughed. It is, but it's also beautiful. Every single day is a gift, Emma. Don't waste a single one. Emma woke with tears on her cheeks. But they weren't sad tears. They were grateful ones. Spring arrived on a Tuesday. Emma walked to school with Sophie, Titan trotting between them. He'd become a fixture in the neighborhood. Everyone knew the girl with the prosthetic leg and the protective dog. Big news, Sophie said. What? Tyler asked me to the spring dance. Tyler with the braces? Tyler with the braces and the really nice eyes. Gross. You're just jealous. I'm definitely not. You should come anyway, to the dance. It'll be fun. Emma shook her head. I don't dance. You could learn. With this leg? Why not? That leg is basically superhuman. Dr. Hayes said you could run a marathon. I'm not running a marathon. But you could dance. Emma stopped walking. Sophie, what? Why do you care so much? Because you're my best friend and you never do anything fun. And I want you to have one normal middle school experience before we graduate to high school and everything gets weird. Emma stared at her. That was a lot of words. I've been practicing. Titan barked once. Sophie pointed at him. See? Even your dog agrees. Emma looked at Titan. The dog's tail was wagging. Traitor. Fine, I'll think about it. That's a yes. That's an I'll think about it. Which is a yes. Sophie skipped ahead, grinning. Emma looked down at Titan. You're supposed to be on my side. Titan kept wagging. Emma sighed. Fine, but I'm not wearing a dress. She went to the dance. She wore a dress. Margaret had taken her shopping, found something simple, blue, comfortable enough to move in. You look beautiful, Margaret said. I look weird. You look like a normal 12-year-old girl going to her first dance. I've never been normal. Normal is overrated. You look like Emma. That's better. The gymnasium was decorated with streamers and balloons. A DJ played music too loud. Kids stood in awkward clusters, trying to figure out how to be teenagers. Sophie found her immediately. You came! I said I would. I know, but I didn't believe you. Thanks for the confidence. Come on, let's get punched before Tyler finds me and gets weird. They made their way to the refreshment table. Emma kept waiting for someone to stare at her leg, to point, to whisper. No one did. A fast song came on. Sophie grabbed her hand. Dance with me. Sophie, don't argue, just move. Emma moved. It was awkward at first. Her prosthetic didn't bend the same as her other leg. The rhythm was hard to find. But then, something clicked. She stopped thinking about her leg. Stopped thinking about what she looked like. Stopped thinking about all the ways she was different. She just danced. Sophie laughed and spun and pulled Emma along with her. For 3 minutes and 47 seconds, Emma Cole was just a kid at a dance with her best friend. When the song ended, she was out of breath. That wasn't so bad, Sophie said. No, it wasn't. Told you. Don't get cocky. Too late. A slow song started. Sophie spotted Tyler across the room. I have to go be awkward now. You okay? I'm okay. You sure? Go, be awkward. I'll survive. Sophie disappeared into the crowd. Emma stood alone for a moment. Then she walked outside. The night air was cool, fresh. The stars were out for the first time in weeks. She sat on the steps and looked up. You did it. The voice came from behind her. Emma turned. Jake stood in the doorway, What are you doing here? Margaret called. Said you might need backup. I don't need backup. I know. Came anyway. He sat down beside her. How was the dance? Weird? Good? Both?
That's most of life. So I've learned. They sat in silence for a moment.
Jake?
Yeah?
Do you remember what you said at the airport about me reminding you why you got up in the morning?
I remember.
What did you mean? Jake was quiet for a long moment.
I'd done things. In the Navy. Things I'm not proud of. Seen things I can't unsee. When I got out, I didn't know who I was anymore. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't connect. Couldn't figure out what the point of anything was. And then this kid asked me if a seat was taken. Emma smiled. That's it? That's it. You reminded me that there's still good in the world. Still people worth fighting for. Still reasons to show up. I was just looking for somewhere to sit. No, you were looking for someone to see you. And you found me. Emma felt tears prick her eyes. I was so scared that day. I know. I didn't think anyone would help. But someone did. You did. Jake put his arm around her. We helped each other, Emma. That's how it works. You don't get saved and then sit still. You get saved and then you save someone else. Who am I supposed to save? You'll know when you find them. Emma leaned against his shoulder. Jake? Yeah? I'm glad I asked about that seat. Me too, kid. Me too. 10 years later, Emma Cole stood at a podium. The auditorium was packed. Hundreds of faces looked up at her. Social workers, foster parents, police officers, advocates. She was 22 years old, a senior in college, majoring in social work, and she was about to give the keynote speech at the National Child Advocacy Conference. When I was 10 years old, she began, I asked a stranger a question. 7 words. Is this seat taken? The room was silent. I didn't know it then, but those 7 words would save my life. She talked for 45 minutes. About Victor, about her mother, about the abuse she'd survived, and the system that had failed her. About Jake, about Titan, about the Hendersons, about second chances. Every day, she said, children like me are looking for someone to see them, someone to believe them, someone to say yes when everyone else says no. Her voice cracked. Be that person, please. Be the one who doesn't look away. Be the one who asks questions. Be the one who fights for the child no one else is fighting for. She looked out at the audience, because sometimes all it takes is one person, one moment, one act of courage. She paused. One seat at a table. The applause was thunderous. After the speech, a woman approached her. Mid-30s, tired eyes, hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Miss Cole, I'm sorry to bother you. You're not bothering me. What's your name? Linda. Linda Martinez. What can I do for you, Linda? The woman's eyes filled with tears. My daughter. She's 8. My ex-husband, he has custody. But I know something's wrong. She's scared of him. She flinches when he raises his voice. But the courts won't listen to me. Emma felt something click into place. Tell me everything. She listened for an hour. When Linda finished, Emma pulled out her phone. I know someone who can help. A detective. She specializes in cases like this. Really? Really. Her name is Maria Santos. She helped me when I was your daughter's age. Linda broke down sobbing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Emma held her hands. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when your daughter is safe. She made the call, started the process. Because that's what you do when you've been saved. You save someone else. That night, Emma went home. The Henderson house. Still the same. Still smelling like Margaret's cooking. Still full of laughter and chaos and love. Margaret hugged her at the door. "We watched your speech, every word." "How was it?" "There wasn't a dry eye in this house."
"Even Robert?"
"Especially Robert." Emma laughed. She walked into the living room. Jake was there, older now, gray at his temples, but still standing straight, still watching the room. And at his feet, lying on his favorite blanket, was Titan. The dog was 13 years old. His muzzle was white, his movements were slower. But his eyes were the same. Those calm, knowing eyes that had seen through Emma in an airport cafe 12 years ago. She knelt beside him. "Hey, buddy." Titan's tail wagged, once, slow, but certain. "I gave a big speech today, talked about you, about how you knew I needed help before anyone else did." Titan's head lifted slightly. "I met someone too, a woman with a daughter who needs help, just like I did. And I'm going to fight for her, just like you fought for me." She leaned down and kissed his head. "Thank you, for everything, for being my protector, my friend, my family." Titan licked her hand. Jake watched from across the room. "He's proud of you," he said. "How do you know?" "Same way I always have. I can see it in his eyes." Emma looked at Titan, at the dog who had chosen her in an airport cafe when she had nothing and no one. At the friend who had stayed by her side through the hardest years of her life. At the guardian who had protected her when she couldn't protect herself. "I love you, Titan." The dog's tail wagged again. And Emma Cole, the girl who had once asked 7 simple words in a crowded airport, understood something she hadn't understood before. She wasn't the same person who had limped into that cafe looking for a seat. She wasn't a victim anymore. She was a survivor. She was a fighter. She was someone who showed up. And she would keep showing up every single day for every child who needed someone to believe them. Because that's what Jake had taught her. That's what Titan had shown her. That's what her mother had known all along. The help we receive isn't really for us. It's borrowed. And Emma Cole was going to spend the rest of her life passing it on. Do you remember a moment when someone showed up for you when you needed it most? A stranger? A friend? Someone who saw you when no one else did? Tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. If this story touched your heart, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to remember that quiet courage still exists. Because sometimes, all it takes is one person who won't look away, one seat at a table, and 7 simple words. Is this seat taken? The answer should always be yes.